And inshallah, we just before the break, we were talking about what the situation is with the your party and the infighting that's occurring at the top leadership. We're just going to move on to the UK Prime Minister Starmer. His call is he's basically saying that we're going to recognize the Palestinian state before the UN General Assembly. So Britain is going to recognize the Palestinian state. What do you think about this? Give us a call. You've got the number on your screens, and if you want me to shout it out, it's 01274 271 787. So give us a call, and you can give an opinion or your thought on these topics that we are discussing. So just what do you make of this announcement by the British government recognizing the state of Palestine?
I think there's a lot of positive commentary online as well. So officially, the UK government, via the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, has announced that they are recognizing the Palestinian state, which they should have done many years ago, especially when there was a British Palestine in existence, and they should have done it many years ago. But going forward, I think this can only be a positive thing in the sense of symbolically, shall we say. There's going to be then we could claim that this Palestine, which by the way, over 150 countries do recognize Palestine as a country, as a state, but UK didn't. Most of Europe doesn't as well. I think the tide is shifting. They will recognize Palestine, but by the time they recognize it, the main question is, will there be any Palestine left? Because at the moment, we've got our West Bank, which is fully occupied. We've got Gaza, which is fully occupied by Israel, the Zionist entity Israel. So things are not looking well if you look at the actual reality. But symbolically, obviously, we've got new information that the United Kingdom government is going to recognize Palestine as a state. I think that's all really. That's all that is really.
It was Britain that gave the land of Palestine away to the Zionists about 100 years ago. It's called the Balfour Declaration. The foreign minister of Britain, his name was Balfour.
Well, I think that's not just the moment. The moment it was occupied. Well, I'm using the word occupied. Nowadays, Saudi Arabia and other countries, Arab countries, you call it occupation as well. Before they used to have it as a Muslim Khilafat rule, but which was Ottoman, and somehow they managed to deceive the people of Palestine. I'm using the word Palestine. They deceived those people, promised a lot of things, but lied to the Palestinian people, thereby there being a British Palestine. That's how it came into existence. They were promised a lot of things, but in the end, there was a secret agreement which kind of became public after the declaration. We still don't know what. There must have been some kind of dodgy dealings.
It was the Sykes-Picot Agreement, which is now obviously
about the Balfour Declaration.
Sykes-Picot Agreement.
Yeah.
So this is where France and Britain carved up all of the Middle East.
Yes.
And they just went with the ruler, line here, line there.
Yeah, there is French rule in Palestine as well, but we don't want to get too technical. But what is there's direct involvement with those lands. Britain is directly involved. They should have recognized Palestine as a state, as a minimum, a very long time ago. It's long overdue, and the only thing I'll say is, there's a slight positive from the Labour government. Other than that, they're still arming, aiding and abetting genocide. which that needs to stop as well.
Yeah. So on basically on the one hand, they're trying to describe Palestinian marches as hate marches. They've basically locked up loads of Palestinians who were standing for Palestine, and so this is one hand, and the other hand is basically gonna say, I'm recognizing the Palestinian state. The, and why are you not stopping the weapons going to Israel? And so America has already announced, I think it's $2 billion of arms to be sent to Israel, and so Britain is
So
already, yeah.
also just to mention, side note, Britain has sent more weapons than the increased amount of weaponry that was going into Israel, shall we say, or Palestine. The increased amount of weaponry. The reason why the Conservatives were actually sending less weaponry, so there's been an increase, and instead of decreasing, it's actually increased. So that's the actual fact.
Yeah.
That behind the scenes, they may say one thing. Now, for example, we recognize Palestine, but behind the scenes, they might be on the books, or should we say, with Donald Trump and others, saying I totally annihilate Palestine, which it currently is under great attack, especially now currently Gaza City. I think the people there have been displaced many times. They've been told to go to the north, to the south, all over the place. This is a safe zone. This is not a safe zone. They're playing them around, and this is what the Zionists are doing. They're playing them around, and they're going to be soon playing around with the Middle East, like they did with Qatar. And look how they got away with that. Nothing's happened.
Yeah.
The Qatari are too weak to respond. They're doing favors, helping mediate peace, but the peace negotiators are killed. What intention is that Britain should have been saying this is wrong, which I think they did, but the US is staunchly behind Israel. That's what at the moment is shall we say, that's what's blocking the peace. That's what's blocking there to be a ceasefire.
I think obviously they've put these people in nation states like Qatar, Saudi, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt. They've given them flags. They're not for their people. They are actually tyrants. They oppress the people. They don't look after their people. They actually, are basically there to give the deals with the Israeli state and help it to do all this without any repercussions. So what we've got to realize is that these nation states, they're not ours. So the Egyptian state is not there for the Egyptian people. There's tyrants that have been placed. They actually don't want their people to speak out against this. There's no freedom that people have, like in the UK. We're allowed to speak and protest and basically make our voices heard. This is the thing that what is happening in the Middle East and Muslim countries is that people are waking up to the fact that these rulers, these governments, are using the wealth that belongs to the Ummah. These properties like water, rivers, you can't privatize them, because the Prophet ﷺ said that these are public property. In description in a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that the people have share in fire, in water, and in pasture lands. So pasturing lands, and also, we learn from these that any vital resources that the community needs, these are public assets, not allowed to become privatized. So under obviously the system that we're living in, these people can own anything they want. So freedom of ownership. So they're all talking about is earth minerals. We want them. All these taxes that are being applied, tariffs that are being applied. These is making the rich, the establishment, or you could call it the 1%. It's making them rich at the expense of the 99%, and people are struggling. And there's protests taking place, like in country like France, you've got protests taking place there. But just coming back to
I'm going to sum up what you're saying, but in other words, the prime example for nowadays is even if you give £400 million present to Donald Trump, he will still not back you. The US, right, are hardened Zionists who they will only help those that they truly believe in and that have helped them get elected, and that is the Zionist entity. So it's a good lesson as well. 400 million. Where could they have spent that? But instead they put it in the shall we say, basically they kind of I'm going to use the word bribe, or they try to give him a very expensive present, and that would do some favors. That would, even having a big massive air base in your country, the United States air base in your country, even that will help you. So at the moment, we know throughout the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and many other countries, Syria, several others, they've got bases, the United States Army bases, right? And apparently now they want the Kandahar base back as well. I don't know if
Bagram.
Bagram. They want that back as well, right? And even we know, unfortunately, when Afghanistan was attacked, they used bases in Pakistan to attack Afghanistan, for example. So we know that as a fact, because even you can do whatever favor you want for them. Their agenda, whatever their agenda is, they will they'll help reach that agenda, and the plan of Greater Israel is on the cards, and the Holy Land, also the third holiest place, has been taken over, and they've got plans to take over the Hejaz region as well. That is part of the Greater Israel, and are they going about that? They are going about that very well. That is going to be taken over, and the Muslims, or shall we say Arab leaders, are just going to be taking it all in, doing what they normally do, which is not much, oppressing their own people. Both for the net result is negative for all, and we've seen that with Palestine. Looking at Syria, which Israel, by the way, holds Golan Heights. But just recently, in recent years, they've taken over that. They've taken further land in Syria, which nobody talks about. And they're taking Gaza out of the Golan Heights. They are planning to take out from Gaza. There's so many natural resources which they will take over and they will benefit from. And there's a real potential here that we're going to have a superpower, which some people already say it's got nuclear weapons. Israel has got nuclear weapons. There's going to be a superpower there, and unfortunately, this is a problem. Now there's been a deal with Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. I know previously there's been many deals, but is this deal enough in your? What's your opinion about?
My opinion, I'm thinking that the Saudis may use Pakistan army to attack Yemen and for other causes. But if we look at it as face value, I think people are celebrating this and they're seeing this as a unity amongst the Muslims.
I think previously, just to mention, previously there's been agreements with the countries, and there's been Pakistani armed forces in that country helping them with wherever they do training, etc., etc., practicing borders. So do that in the past. So I don't know if this what level of agreement this is, and how much of it. Because I think from Yemen, they said a few choice things to Pakistan as well. So we don't want this to be a kind of a problem in the area. We want this to be a resolution where things are better in the area. They need to, the Arab League and OIC, whatever it's called, they need to do things better, even though they normally let the US decide what happens there as their masters, but because they need to do the resolving the issues themselves.
Personally, I'm going to say a few words, inshallah, and then we're going to go for a little break. The United Nations, as an organization, has let Kashmir down in the past. Palestine has let Palestine down. So even if we get a state recognition in the United Nations, what's the ground realities are going to change? Personally, I think we should be thinking is that these countries that are now obviously being close and providing the much needed for armor for the Israelis. How is this going to stop, and what can we do to make them realize that the whole region now is going to be wars will be taking place. I think they're looking at Jordan as well to attack it. So they've attacked quite a few countries in and around that. Doha is the latest one, but they've attacked quite a few. So they don't care about nation states.
I think it's a message as well. The message is that we could attack wherever we want, and nobody can touch us.
Yeah, that's right. So if you've got any questions, comments that you'd like to ring in to the studio, the number 01274 271 787. And we'll be back after a short break